Hey guys, welcome to our CoreFit 8 program. This is level 1. We have 4 levels for you. We're going to start nice and steadily, help you learn the fundamentals of core control. So let's get going. So we're going to get straight into our 4-point position here, and we're going to use this to come up to a shoulder touch. The key thing here is that we keep the body weight absolutely centered. As soon as you start to shift the weight, it becomes a very easy exercise. So the key thing again is staying centered and just touching up to the shoulder. Try and find a nice steady rhythm and really use this exercise to feel what happens through the core. So when I take the hand off, you feel the contraction deep inside the core. Okay, so that was it for the arms. We're now going to do a little lift for the leg. Again, trying to keep everything centered in the middle here. It does take a bit of concentration, but get used to the exercise, feel it, and use this every time as a warm-up exercise to connect the association with the core. Feel what we're doing. Okay, so we're now on to our hydrant exercise. So we're coming up out the side and back down. It's not a very big lift, and we alternate between each side. That's good. But all the time trying to keep a really nice flat back. So this is very similar to the first one, but we're now starting to use a few more of the hip exercises involved there. Good. So it's nice and smooth, not rushing. It's all about feeling the good movement and the good contraction through the core. Often it's difficult to understand really how to use it, but if you're doing this exercise correctly and you copy what I'm doing, you'll find you do get deeply into that core. So when we make things more complicated, you come back and you use this sensation as a reference. That's good. We've got our last few seconds through here. Perfect. Okay then, so let's turn on to backs. We're going to just use a nice contraction through the front here to keep a neutral pelvis. We can start straight away with these little slides. The idea being though, if you can see the space at the back here, it's not changing. So if when I straighten the leg, you feel that arch increase, you haven't got enough deep control through the front. And likewise, we don't want to see you pushing down into the mat. It's about keeping what is a neutral throughout all of these movements. Just move my hands there so you can see that space, and hopefully it's staying nice and steady throughout here. You can pop hands on the hips for a little bit of feedback. Again, I'm not holding, I'm just using it to feel what's going on. You can make it a little bit harder by putting the hands above the shoulders. There we go. So again, throughout these, we're not holding the breath, we're just staying nice and relaxed all the way through. It's not about being fast through the exercises, it's about being steady and controlled. Great. So we're now going to change the angle. We're going to come out to the side now with the leg. Again, you can pop hands down for feedback. But again, the idea here is that you don't let things rock over to the side. So I only let the knee go as far as I can control. I want the other knee to stay absolutely vertical. So it comes to the side, all under control, and then come back up. Over to the other side. If I go too far, you see everything start to move. So I know that's my point there. I have to stop and return. There again, and come back up. Good. So all these is about smooth, steady movement. Very good. Concentrating hard all the way through on a steady breath, not holding, not locking down anywhere. Good. So our next exercise from here is the bridge. So this is again, seems easy to do, but there's a few key things to make sure you get it right. We want to make sure we rotate the pelvis to begin, create a little tension through the glutes as we then drive up. And the drive up only goes to here. We can curl back and up through that range. So again, I'm not touching down at the bottom and I'm not lifting up too high. The classic mistake is to lift with the back into here and you see the ribs open. But if you can keep the ribs in together, the middle of the back touching, so you've really just lifted the pelvis off by driving the hips forwards. It should all be coming from these big glutes. You can always check the hamstrings to see if they're loose. If you're struggling, just make it a smaller movement and think about pushing through from those hips. Okay, that's very good. Last couple here, driving up. All the time keeping a nice hollow, smooth tummy. Good. So we can come down from here. Right, we're up onto side. Going to come down and we're going to go straight into this motion. It's our clam exercise. Again, it's another core classic, but very difficult to get right. And unless you get the technique right, you won't be getting the most out of it. So, even though we've started already, I'm watching down the angle of my knees. I'm making sure the top of my hip doesn't move. One of the classic mistakes is to start leaning back through there, and then you miss the point of using this muscle at the back of the hip. So it's a smooth, steady lift through there. Good. That's our first 30 seconds done through there. Same for the other side then. So we come over and we're straight in. Again, nice and smoothly, still watching down the line of the knees and being sure that this point, the front of the hip, isn't moving. We want to keep a nice steady control through the front of the core. Good. Okay, so we've only got a couple of minutes left. We're going to move on to a couple of exercises that are a little bit harder. But again, I don't want you to sacrifice any of the quality of these movements just so that you feel you've done the exercise or you've done it quickly. Okay, so we're going to come up onto the side, elbow below the shoulder, and I'm going to lift up. So from here, I've got a nice straight line down the body, and if you want to, you can have a little bit of rotation through on the top here. That's very good. Again, nice and smoothly through this movement, and again, making sure that you're onto the knees, not making it too hard. But you should feel a good contraction through the front of the core, but especially on the side here. That's really good. Okay, so that's our first side done, and we can switch over to the other side. So we're coming into here again, same thing, up onto the elbow. Nice straight line through the body, making sure we're not sinking down here, and again rotating through. That's really good. If you can feel that steady breath, you're staying relaxed, you're not bunching up in the shoulder, that's what we're after. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to finish now in the front plank. Again, we're going to be on knees to reduce the pressure. So, onto knees, in through here. And we want to make sure you're not lifting up through the back there or sinking down through here. It's a nice lift up, taking the belly button away from the floor into a steady hold in that position. If you're finding you're managing that very easily, we can then just do a few little straightens on the legs. And by taking one of the supports away, it means there's a rotational element for us to control. But we can just hold through to there for the last few seconds. 3, 2, 1, and then we can lift up. Great, guys. So that's our first level of core. Be really attentive to the way you do it, the quality of the movement, and you can check out all the other 8Fit programs on our website, bfitapps.com. And remember, be fit for sport, be fit for life, be fit apps.